I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what today is. But it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady arranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. Of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what today is.
All right, we are back in the building. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. Oh, we're looking all crispy and clean on the screen already. Dang, I wasn't even ready for my own transition. Here we go. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Classy Beats at classybeats.com. We barely made it to the Music Morning Show. It's almost noon. It is noon now, but we officially started before, so we're good. Hope y'all are ready for a great show. I know we've been covering the A$AP Rocky trial live. There is no court today. I know y'all are disappointed, but we still have some more news we're going to get into. We've been covering the Relli lawsuit that's been filed against Rocky. We went over his initial lawsuit, and then we were going over the defamation lawsuit. We're going to get back into that today. We also have a couple news when it comes to Jay-Z and this lawsuit he's facing, filed by Tony Busby, who's now being represented by 2 other attorneys. It's wild out here, y'all. So we're going to get into that along with a few other things. Hopefully y'all are doing well on this Wednesday. Let me say what's up to the people though before we get started. Are we good? Oh no, it said my stream was looking crazy. Okay, we're good. We're good. Of course, my awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. Shout out to Amy. Thank you for everything you do. I appreciate you being here. First thing as always, we got Michi in the building. Shout out to Michi. Les Cleaver is in here. He dropped a super chat. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Les Cleaver in the building with the 10 bomb. He says, good morning, my family. May the Lord bless you and keep you warm, safe, and may you always be loved and appreciated. A$AP Rocky is not guilty. Do y'all agree? I had some people disagreeing with me. Yo, they're going wild over on X. A lot of people are saying that they think A$AP Rocky is going down. I agree with Les. I think he's going to be all right. We got Slim Life in here. A Fitz is in the building. Good morning. We've got Beautiful Butterflies back at it. Alejandra Kel Bell, the honorable attorney Kel Bell. I was looking for you yesterday, Kel Bell. I needed your help. I was struggling over here, man. Shout out to Kel Bell, one of our amazing community attorneys. Appreciate you being here. Taco Tuesdays in the building. We've got Power Folk Living is up in here as well. Good to see you. Shout out also to, who is in here? Joyce Walker. We've got Joyce Walker in here. Shadow Fox is in the building as well. Good to see y'all in the building, man. And shout out to all the members. Appreciate y'all always being in here, showing love as well. Yeah, people on Twitter be hating like crazy. Ryan S is in the building too. Good morning. Good morning. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. So a couple things before we get started. If y'all haven't checked out the Patreon, make sure you check out the all new Patreon. In honor of hitting 100K subscribers here, we started a brand new Patreon. I'm sharing exclusive documents over there. You'll get a first look into the documents that we cover here on the show, as well as some documents that hadn't been released yet. And we're going to be doing some Patreon exclusive live streams. I'll also be giving behind the scenes content as well. So if y'all haven't checked out the Patreon, make sure you click the link in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. Also, last but not least, can y'all please like the video on your way in? Not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the algorithm wherever you're watching know that you guys are having a great time over here, and it shares the video and the channel with more people. It looks like we're almost at 100% likes already. So y'all are always on it, man. Thank you for the love. Lance said, good morning, enjoying your channel. I appreciate you, Lance. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Yeah, and Kel Bell, feel free to chime in as we're going through a lot of these legal documents this morning. First, we're going to kick off the show with what's going on between Jay-Z, Tony Busby, and Jane Doe. Alex Spiro will throw his name in there as well. Very, very interesting stuff. And it's a lot's going on here. Of course, y'all know there's been a constant back and forth between Alex Spiro and Jay-Z and Tony Busby and Jane Doe. Now, Tony Busby is being represented by two other attorneys in this lawsuit. And we recently had some news that came out. This one is sponsored by Kat Not Williams. She posted this over on X, so shout out to her. It looks like they came to somewhat of an agreement when it came to sanctions. Y'all know we saw in the ASAP Rocky case that those sanctions were flying during that trial because the judge was not having what was going on. And the same thing here with Jay-Z. They wanted sanctions against, Jay-Z wanted sanctions against Tony Busby for his conduct or his behavior throughout this legal back and forth. And it looks like maybe they're going to let some of that go. So let's see what Alex Spiro says here, sponsored by Kat Not Williams. They say, to the Honorable Annalisa Torres, Dear Judge Torres, we write on behalf of the defendant, Sean Carter, to respectfully request that Mr. Carter's motion for sanctions pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11 be withdrawn at this time. Look at him. And without prejudice, too. We have discussed this matter with counsel for the plaintiff, who consents to this submission and agrees the withdrawal is without prejudice. All right. And that was by Alex Spiro and his law firm there. So looks like they came to a little bit of agreement and said, hey, guys, I know this has been tumultuous, but let's not go overboard. OK, so they settled that and it looks like everything is all good. Right. Well, not necessarily, because it looks like Jay-Z and Alex Spiro are still at work because we have a new motion filed by Jay-Z and they're requesting oral arguments. All right. What is this new motion? Of course, it's the defendant Sean Carter's memorandum of law in support of his motion to dismiss the plaintiff's first amended complaint. So Jay-Z's asking them to throw this thing out again. So let's see what happens. Let's see what they're talking about here. We're going to scroll through all this additional stuff. We don't need it. Let's see what they're saying. Defendant Sean Carter, he's going to be moving forward, identified as Mr. Carter, we'll call him Jay-Z, respectfully submits this memorandum of law in support of his motion to dismiss the plaintiff's first amended complaint. The pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12B6. We've heard that a lot throughout this entire situation. Here we go. Preliminary statement. The plaintiff here pins her legal claims to a statute that paves a pathway to relief for victims of gender-motivated violence in the hope that she can thereby resurrect, a decades-old claim just months before the close of the statute's revival window. Basically, she's trying to get a shot off in the clutch, and they ain't having it. But her claims, which are meritless at their core, because Jay-Z did not commit the heinous acts alleged, are insusceptible to the statutory resurrection she attempts and remains outdated as a matter of law. At the time the plaintiff asserts she was assaulted, the statute she relies upon did not exist. This is going to be a problem. It was not on the books. And even if it could cover the conduct the plaintiff complains of, it is preempted by 2 New York state laws, which specify revival periods that have already expired. So here comes another shot from Jay-Z and Alex Spiro saying another reason this motion should be thrown out is because everything that she's claiming and the laws that she's claiming do not apply to her. That window is passed, and we shouldn't even be in this situation in the first place. Interesting. And even if it could cover the conduct plaintiff complains of, it is preempted by 2 New York state laws which specify revival periods that have already expired. Finally, the FAC does not and cannot allege that the conduct occurred within New York City so as to fall under the cited statute. That is a great point. She's even claiming in the initial claim and the amended complaint, I guess we'll call it, that she wasn't even in New York when all this happened. She didn't have this encounter with Jay-Z until they were at a house that wasn't even in New York. Wild. The FAC asserts that nearly a quarter of a century ago, on September 7, 2000, plaintiff traveled from her home to New York City to attend the VMAs at Radio City Music Hall. After speaking with multiple limousine drivers, we know the story. She claims to have walked her way into an invitation and a ride to a party hosted by Diddy. At this, at this celebrity-filled party, purportedly held at a large white residence with a U-shaped driveway located within 20 minutes of Radio City, the plaintiff asserts that she was assaulted by 2 male celebrities while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Tony Busby knows who the unnamed female is, or alleged unnamed female is. Maybe she settled already. Who knows? She contends that Mr. Carter was one of those men. But plaintiff's astounding allegations filed more than 2 decades after the alleged incident are untimely and therefore cannot proceed. That is no mere technicality. Time bars exist to avoid the errors and injustices that can result from litigating claims that have been allowed to slumber until evidence has been lost, memories have faded, and witnesses have disappeared, which we have all of this actually in this initial claim. The witness that disappeared allegedly is the person who took her to the VMAs, right? Memories faded. Well, she said in her NBC interview, the plaintiff did the Jane Doe that she may not remember some things. Evidence has been lost. We don't know if...
Right, and so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
We don't know what evidence, if any, they have at all. We haven't heard from a limo driver. Her father said, if I picked her up from this event, I would have remembered. We don't have that. We don't have the clothes she was wearing that night, the towel she used, or whatever she used when she was running out of the house. I mean, it's a mess. CTS Core versus Waldenberger, 573 US 1-8 in 2014 says, they protect defendants like Jay-Z from having to defend hard-won reputations in the face of uncorroborated allegations. This case has already exemplified the legislative purposes behind statutes of limitations, as the plaintiff has publicly admitted that many of her allegations were false. That's true. That she made some mistakes and that she guessed about key details in her story, including how long the drive took to get to the party. Jeez, man. And she has identified no witnesses who can substantiate her claim. That's not true. She did identify one witness. She said she talked to Billy Madison, I believe, who in 2000 on September 7, he wasn't even in the country, if I remember right. And he's like, yo, she didn't talk to me. I don't remember this chick because I wasn't even there at the time. So there was one witness. It's just maybe it was the wrong witness. I don't know. And she identified no witnesses who can substantiate her claims. All told, the majority of the plaintiff's allegations, including that she watched the VMAs on the Jumbotron, that she spoke to limousine drivers outside of Radio City, that she spoke to with certain celebrities at the party, and that her father drove her home, have already been exposed as false or inconsistent. How this thing still exists, I have no idea. Indeed, she claimed with certainty that one of the celebrities she spoke to was, oh, there it is, I said Billy Madden, Benji Madden, excuse me, but that conversation never happened. Plaintiff claims that she may proceed with this action because her stale claim was revived by New York City's Victim of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. That is legally that is legally erroneous for two simple reasons. The first reason is because the plaintiff impermissibly seeks to apply the act, I'm going to call it, retroactively. The FAC alleges the plaintiff was assaulted in September of 2000, but the act was not enacted until 3 months later, in December of 2000. Because the act did not exist as of September 2000, it does not provide a cause of action for alleged events at that time. Nor did the statute's plain text, or even the legislative history for that matter, state or even suggest that it should be applied retroactively to, oh man, that's going to be tough. I want to look this up now. I mean, I'm going to take their word for it since they're saying it's true, but I actually want to go in and look up when this all went down. And if there was something in this act that would actually allow for it to be applied to her. Because if it says, oh, well, in the future, people are going to be able to come back to this date in December 2000, then that makes sense. But why wouldn't it apply to her? We'll have to keep reading. Notably, every court that has considered this question in this context has declined to extend the statute's reach to conduct that predated its passage. So they have some case law here. Applying the statute in ways never suggested by the legislator would not only raise grave constitutional concerns, but would violate the due process and ex post facto clauses of the U.S. Constitution. Second, even if the act could apply retroactively, it cannot. The plaintiff's claim is preempted by New York State's Child Victims Act, or the CVA, and Adult Survivors Act, the ASA, consistent with Judge Kaplan's recent decision addressing the same issue in Peter versus Alexander. We might have to look that up. And that actually happened this year in 2025, in January of 2025. I'm going to do some research and find that one for y'all. The CVA and the ASA collectively create a comprehensive legislative scheme that encompasses the entire field of civil claims for assault, reflecting the state legislator's intent to take full responsibility for regulating this area specifically. And the act, the Survivors Act, revival period directly conflicts with that of the CVA and the ASA, which resuscitate stale claims only until August 2021 and March 2023, respectively. That reflects the considered judgment of the state's legislator, balancing the critical interest in protecting defendants from the potential injustices of litigating the stale claims and providing compensation for true victims of assault. And New York City cannot depart from that careful legislative choice under the principles of conflict preemption. Because the plaintiff's claim would not be timely under the CVA, it is barred now. And what's the third reason? It should be the last one. Regardless of the claim's visibility and timelessness, the plaintiff has failed to state a valid claim for relief because the FAC does not allege that the unlawful conduct, i.e. the purported assault, occurred within New York City's territorial boundaries, nor could it. The plaintiff asserts that after leaving Radio City, within 20 minutes, she arrived at a party hosted by Diddy in a large white residence with a U-shaped driveway. But Diddy did not own a residence that fits the description in 2000. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people out here saying he did own the house. He did own the house. They've doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down and said he did not own this house that they're speaking of in 2000. He didn't own the house that fits this description in 2000. And we know where he was in 2000 as well, on September 7th, 2000 to be specific, because we've seen the pictures and I'm sure there's more pictures that will come out as well. And publicly available information demonstrates that there is no residence meeting this description within 20 minutes of Radio City that is located both in New York City and within the boundaries of the Southern District of New York. That's a problem. For each of these reasons, the plaintiff claim is due to be dismissed. And because amendment cannot cure the fundamental flaws concerning retroactivity and preemption. Dismissal should be without prejudice. So there it is. We're not going to get into the background. We know this story. This Jane Doe lied, or I won't say she lied. Let me take that back. She is confused as I don't know what. So because this story doesn't make sense. And when you line up what actually happened during the VMAs in 2000 versus what she said, it's not looking great. So based on what we just heard, do y'all think that this should be dismissed? I know there's already been a motion to dismiss. We went through that and we reviewed the whole thing. I'll leave a link to that video in the description for y'all as well. But let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. Is Judge Torres going to hear what they're saying and maybe go forward? Will there be oral arguments? Because we saw Alex Spiro. He knows how to give some oral arguments. We've seen one of them before as well. So I want to hear what y'all's thoughts are as well. Shout out to the gang in here, man. I see y'all with the super chats as well. Let me read a couple of these super chats and then we'll get into our next document here. Shout out to Mr. Brown in the building, my guy, dropping the 2 bomb as well. I appreciate you. Just showing some love, man. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Y'all are talking about Rocky. He said, I feel so bad for Rocky, bro. Ain't no way he would do anything like that. Well, Rocky was stupid. He should have never went to meet up with Relli in the first place. Good morning to everybody saying good morning as well. Aphis said, I need a flow chart to keep up with all these attorneys in this lawsuit. I know. Because right now there are 1, 2, 3. So there's Alex Spiro, and then there's the 2 other attorneys from, what is it? Quinn Emanuel. I always forget the name of this. Yeah, Quinn Emanuel. I'm not pronouncing that. And Sullivan. So there's 2 attorneys from that law firm. So that's 3. Then we have Tony Busby, who's now being represented by 2 other attorneys. So that's 6 attorneys total. It's just a mess. This whole thing is a mess. Oh, man. Let me see. Christ Records 2016. Yes, I'm covering all my. Oh, okay. Amy's talking to somebody else. Y'all go check out Amy's channel as well. He's guilty, but it's not what you know. It's what you can prove. We talked about that too with ASAP Rocky. Looking at the law, it seems like this would be an open and shut case with Rocky, but the jury might see it differently. The jury might say, hey, I understand why he wanted to do this. And that's going to be interesting to see what their verdict is. We've got closing arguments tomorrow, so make sure y'all stay locked in for that. Also, we've got Slayer Main in here. Shout out to Slayer Main with the 10 bomb. Says, been a while since I've watched, but I thought I would drop this dono. Thank you. Enjoy your Friday with your family and stay classy. Shout out to Slayer Main. Thank you for the love and support. Yeah, we fast forwarding. We skipping ahead to Friday. I'm cool with it. We're gonna miss a lot if you do that. Shadow Fox says Rocky is guilty of self-defense. A lot of people are saying that as well. Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's self-defense. And even the judge, when he gave jury instructions, a couple people were reporting that he's giving them instructions on self-defense. So if they do decide that it's a real gun, I think that was what Mel said. I'm gonna have to go back and find it so I can quote her exactly. From what I remember, if it was a real gun, then they can consider self-defense. So let me find, because unfortunately we actually weren't able to hear the jury instructions because they asked the cameras to turn off. But I know Mel from I'm Not a Lawyer, but was actually in the courtroom and she reported on it. Let me see if I could find it. Yeah, I got too much going on here. So she said, I want to quote her directly. She said, we'll be back on Thursday. Here we go. She says, if the jury does not believe the gun was real, obviously Rocky would be acquitted. If the jury believes the gun was real, they can consider self-defense. And shout out to Mel from I'm Not a Lawyer But with that one. So that's the interesting part. And I don't know, from what I can remember, we watched the trial live together. I do not remember Joe even bringing up the fact of it being self-defense. Yeah, they mentioned that Rocky was firing the warning shots, right? So he could get Relli off of ills. But they didn't actually say, or they didn't imply when interviewing Relli that it could have been for his own defense because he was afraid of being harmed in some way. So that's an interesting point they came into as well. So shout out to Mel for that too. Let me see what else y'all are saying. Oh, it's Slayer Main's birthday. Happy birthday, Slayer Main. Rocky is guilty of nothing just because he is a superstar. Does not mean anybody can blackmail him. He needs to do once and for all. You got to rephrase that. 12's testimony supports it. That was smart of them to give themselves 2 lanes of defense. Yeah, I agree. And then hearing ASAP Lou's testimony yesterday was crazy. What else are y'all saying in here? Let me see. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. All right, let's get into our next topic. Let's go ahead and break down this Relli lawsuit. All right. Lawsuit. So we reviewed this on Tuesday and Monday, and this is where we stopped at, were the first cause of action. These are going to get interesting. We got a few more pages left in this lawsuit, and then we're going to go into looking at the exhibits and actually see what they're saying that these pieces of articles were, what YouTube videos, all of the press run that Joe Tacopina went on. So let's go ahead and get into this and see what Relli was talking about. So first cause of action for the defamation. And basically, just to give y'all a little bit of a background, in this defamation lawsuit, Relli is basically saying they were trying to paint him as a liar, somebody who was trying to extort ASAP Rocky and get this money out of him, which we've seen evidence of that in court. Anyway, so they went through all that. They went through what Joe said. He went on this press run. He was interviewed by TMZ. He went to Rolling Stone and said, yep, Rocky's being extorted. This is how, this is why, this is where he said it. And we've kind of seen some of that in the trial. So Relli filed this defamation lawsuit, and here are the causes of action. The first cause of action is for defamation against the Tacopina defendants and 1 through 24. Here we go. Plaintiff repeats and hereby incorporates by reference the preceding paragraphs as though set forth in full. Here we go. Commencing on or about September 16th of 2022, Joe, acting in his capacity as attorney at the Tacopina Law and acting on behalf of and at the direction of ASAP Rocky, made a series of statements regarding Relli to one or more third persons. Specifically, Joe communicated with statements to news media outlets, including TMZ, Rolling Stone, and Sid and Friends in the Morning. And through these news media outlets, communicated at the public at large. Tacopina Law republished the TMZ article and Rolling Stone article on its website, thereby adopting and ratifying Joe's statements contained therein. Joe's statements include the following. Here's what he said. First thing he said was Rocky didn't commit a crime. It was an extortion attempt by a former associate who threatened to make false criminal accusations if Rocky didn't pay him. Well, I think that they might have him on that one. What do y'all think? Secondly, or we'll say B. We'll go A, B, C, D. B. Joe has 2 eyewitnesses who back Rocky's story. We got to hear from ASAP Lou and ASAP 12. Not only that Relli wasn't hit by bullet fragments, but that no shot was even fired. And by shot being fired, they mean that it was a prop gun, right? It wasn't a real gun. Relli has made up the story in a get-rich-quick scheme, said Joe. ASAP Rocky is the victim of a failed shakedown and fabricated shooting accusation orchestrated by his jealous former friend, ASAP Relli. Oh, man. He was upset because he didn't text him. ASAP Rocky didn't shoot Relli by any stretch. I think we all agree with that. The incident is a false scenario at the heart of a plain and blatant classic attempt at extortion. Relli had been badgering Rocky for money before he allegedly initiated a physical altercation at a face-to-face meeting and then tried to spin the confrontation into a shooting claim. Relli is a failed associate, ex-associate of Rocky. God dang. And he's jealous. Relli was trying to get money from Rocky. He wanted Rocky to support him. He made it clear. There were repeated attempts where he tried to ask for money in lieu of not causing problems for Rocky. Jeez, that's extortion, plain and simple. That's what he said. We have all this memorialized in text messages and otherwise, so it's an extortion. Relli tried to attack Rocky and some other guy got involved and he punched some other guy in the face and knocked his teeth out. And of course, now, according to him, he's a victim. Why do y'all think Ills didn't testify? I find it very strange that he wasn't called as a witness in this. I don't know if they just can't find him, if he's didn't want to testify, but I think having Ills on the stand would clear up a lot of the confusion we have. And he would be a super key witness to everything that's going on. Maybe they're saving him for the civil lawsuit. But I mean, if they can't find him, then they can't. There's a reason. I wonder what that reason is. I've been thinking about that. We'll keep it moving either way. Rocky has been accused of assaulting someone with a gun, a former friend of his, someone who clearly became jealous of Rocky and accused him of assaulting him with a gun. I will tell you this. If they don't dismiss this case, we will be going to trial because he is not guilty. And Joe's saying, I'm not guilty either because he is mentioned in this lawsuit as a defendant. It is a clear extortion play. I have a proof of an extortion before the charges were brought. He's asking for millions and millions of dollars. We have this memorialized rock solid, and it's a shame that they brought this case. This, the complaint, is actually nothing more than a publicity stunt, which is going to backfire badly. This is Joe saying this. I more than welcome this lawsuit, especially because the resolution of the criminal case against Rocky has not happened yet. We're getting close. This opens up the extortion to depositions under oath now before the resolution of the criminal case. It will expose the fraud that he, talking about Relli, committed. Each of the statements set forth above carries the mistakenly defamatory meaning, both explicit and implicit, that Relli is a liar, a money grabber, extorting Rocky, the aggressor of the altercation between Relli and Rocky, and an abuser of the legal process. Yeah, he brought his own. Oh man, it was BYOE. Bring your own evidence, right? Say, hey, I got the shell casings. These statements have a natural tendency to harm plaintiff's reputation, subject him to hatred, ridicule, and cause actual harm to his reputation and professional career. Indeed, Mr. Tacopina or Joe's statement rise to the level of all allegations that Relli engaged in criminal conduct, i.e. extortion in violation of California Penal Code 518. Joe's statements were unprivileged. Joe's statements were false. Relli was a victim of Rocky's unwarranted aggression and unexcused discharge of a firearm, which injured him and caused him severe distress. Joe knew when he made these statements set forth above that they were false and or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. At the time of the statements were made, Rocky had been charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a deadly weapon, a semi-automatic firearm, Specifically, Joe has or should have knowledge of the incident because of the LAPD's investigation and arrest of Rocky and the press statements made in connection with the same, as well as Rocky's own personal knowledge of his conduct, which was or ought to have been communicated to Joe. Joe acted with such malice in asserting otherwise to the press. I mean, if he's seeing something different, I think he's entitled to say that. Joe's statements are defamatory per se. Relli suffered damages in an amount in excess of the jurisdictional minimum of the court as a direct result of Joe's false statements, including, without limitation, damage to his reputation, damage to his personal brand, and goodwill in the community as a member of the ASAP mob. Emotional suffering, he is emotional, and distress, potential income, and goodwill associated with lost opportunities as a result of the negative publicity associated with Joe's allegations and associated long-term loss of goodwill and marketability. In taking these actions alleged in this complaint, Joe acted willfully and wrongfully with malice, oppression, and fraud, and is in conscious disregard of Relli's rights, for which conduct Relli is entitled to an award of punitive and exemplary damages. It's interesting that they use this phrasing here. And we talked about how this criminal case, or the ruling on this criminal case, could affect his civil case. Because if he's saying these statements are false and the jury finds Rocky not guilty, are Joe's statements therefore true? Are they saying that? Is the jury saying, yeah, we've seen all the evidence and we decide that Rocky did not commit this crime? How do you have a defamation lawsuit if it's found that what Joe said is actually true? I mean, are you going to file a civil lawsuit against the jurors, right? You're going to file a civil lawsuit against the state of California and say, oh, because you came back with a not guilty verdict, it cost my client some money. Because now, I mean, it's true. This is very interesting. What's the second cause of action? What are they crying about now? For defamation against Rocky. What? Relli repeats and hereby incorporates by reference the preceding paragraphs as those set forth in full. Commencing on or about September 16, 2022, Joe, acting in his capacity as an attorney at the Tacopina Law and acting on behalf of and at the direction of Rocky, made a series of statements regarding the plaintiff to one or more third persons. Specifically, Rocky, through Joe, communicated his statements to news media outlets, including TMZ, Rolling Stone, and Sit-In Friends in the Morning, and through these news media outlets, communicated to the public at large. Rocky's statements made through Joe include the following. I'm going to see. I should have had this pulled up already. I wonder if if we can find the Sit-In Friends. Hold on, y'all. We're going to take a Friends Joe Tacopina. We're going to take a little bit of a detour. I'm going to see, is this actually... Let me see. Is this actually a video? Have y'all seen this yet? Is it on the radio? Let me see if I can find it. It actually might be on the radio. Let me see if I could find it on... Let me see if I could find it on YouTube. It would be nice if they had a video.
Police officers are the thin blue line that stand between your family and the criminals that would do them harm. They are your neighbors, protecting your neighborhood. Support law enforcement and stand with the Suffolk County PBA.
All right, let's skip ahead. All right, let's skip ahead. It looks like it's about 20 minutes.
Week one, there's only 2 days of 2025. I was just reminded Monday morning when my man Gene drives me into work, as he does every day. Nobody more reliable than Gene. He's like the mailman. Rain, snow, sleet, doesn't matter. He's outside my house at 4 a.m. But I was reminded that I have to give him an extra $15 next week. $3 a day. because that stupid congestion pricing starts on Sunday. So once I get over the Brooklyn Bridge, which Gene takes every morning like you do, Lewis, we come from the same neighborhood.
All right, let's skip it.
No.
Good Lord. All right, let's skip it.
Please, this one quarterback.
It's becoming pro football without the guard uniforms and that stupid quarterback. And it's really, it was just.
Well, I like that quarterback.
Really
That's
kick out of it. I spent a couple. That is
law school, not the undergraduate program, but because of the anti-Semitism and because of the ugliness and Elise Stefanik kicking the ass of the Harvard president last year.
I was getting some sort of, or if you really.
Of the solution.
I should have had this ready. I apologize.
My daughter's in from college, and her boyfriend was.
We replaced you with the great Jason Lampert, who had a great. That's going to come out loud and clear. Normal human beings, because once the evidence comes in and the facts come out, he's going to be okay. So, but that's it's a 3-week trial that was starting on July 21st, and it's a big one.
January 21st. Yeah, not July. January 21st.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
He got a text message at 1 hour before the puck dropped. But I guess that's fine. Yeah. But don't worry, we replaced you with the great Jason Lampert, who had a great time, and the Rangers won. Yeah. But we missed you. I mean,
I missed you. I missed you too.
Yeah, it's coming, man. 3 weeks, we start. The puck drops again. We start that trial, and that's there's
Here we
a
go.
lot on the line there. I mean, that's a case where, because of the laws in California, he is facing a minimum of 9 years, upwards of 25 years, and it's a high-stakes case because, obviously he's married to Rihanna. They have 2 beautiful children together. He has said he's such a great guy, and I don't say this because he's my client, because I have clients I won't say that about. He is different. He is he's an artist, but he's also a really a good person. I've seen him treat people the way a lot of those people who achieve that level of success and notoriety don't treat people. Yeah. And so, this is an extortion play. I've said it from day one. That's going to come out loud and clear at this trial. But, it's always still, look, my knees don't buckle. I've tried over 120 jury trials. I'm ready to go. We're going to win. But you still have a jury. And you just never know. Yep. And it's a lot on the line here. But this kid is a good kid, and the evidence is substantially in our favor. But again,
it's true.
It's never a guarantee when you're dealing with 12 people from different walks of life in the community, and he's someone who some people could not like, maybe because of his music, maybe because of his status, maybe because of jealousy, who knows?
Maybe because he's black. Maybe. Let's go to the most obvious one of all. We still live in a relatively racist country.
Yeah, and that's it. I hope to God that's not the case, and I will work hard to make sure we have jurors on there who are just normal human beings. I don't need favorable, or I don't need this or that. Fans of Rocky, I don't need that either. I just need normal human beings, because once the evidence comes in and the facts come out, he's going to be okay. So, but that's it's a 3-week trial that was starting on July 21st. And it's a big one.
January 21st. Yeah, not July. January 21st. Yeah. My money's on you, Tack. In the final 2 minutes, last time you were on, we spoke about Hector Cartagena. This is a guy that...
all right, so there it is, man. You got Joe on Sit and Friends talking about the trial. I didn't really hear anything much that defamed Relli. I don't know. Seems kind of like an overreaction. But again, I see y'all talking about it in the comments. That is old. This happened years ago. So this happened several years ago when he did this. The judge does have a gag order. Joe and the prosecution are not allowed to talk to the media until the trial's over. So we'll be hearing from them shortly. Seems like a little bit of a stretch, but either way, let's keep going and see what they said here. Rocky didn't commit a crime. It was an extortion attempt by a former associate who threatened to make false criminal claims or accusations if Rocky didn't pay him. Joe has 2 eyewitnesses who back Rocky's story. Not only that Relli wasn't hit by bullet fragments, but that no shot was even fired. Relli has made up the story in a get-rich-quick scheme. ASAP Rocky is the victim of a failed shakedown and fabricated shooting accusations orchestrated by his jealous former friend ASAP Relli. Rocky didn't shoot Relli by any stretch. The incident is a false scenario at the heart of a plain and blatant classic attempt at extortion. He also says the plaintiff has been badgering Rocky for money before he allegedly initiated a physical altercation at a face-to-face meeting and then tried to spin the confrontation into a shooting claim. All right, we've actually seen a couple of these before, so we'll skip through. He said it's unprivileged. They said Rocky made statements through Joe that he's a victim of unwarranted aggression and unexcused discharge of a firearm, which injured him and caused him severe distress. Rocky knew when Joe made the statements set forth above that they were false. Well, stop the cap. That's not true. And or acted with reckless disregard of the truth. Rocky has a direct personal knowledge of his own conduct and knows that the plaintiff was not lying about the incident and altercation. Oh, man. Camille, what are y'all going to do with this? Rocky acted with actual malice in directing Joe to assert otherwise to the press. Rocky's statement made through Joe's statements are defamatory per se. Relli suffered damages in the amount of excess of this jurisdictional minimum of the court as a direct result of Rocky's false statements made through Joe, including without limitation damage to his reputation, damage to his personal brand and goodwill in the community as a member of the ASAP mob, emotional suffering and distress, potential income and goodwill associated with lost opportunities as a result of negative publicity associated with the allegations and associated long-term loss of goodwill and marketability. I mean, he did that himself on the stand. Obviously, this came out before Relli got on the stand, but whew, Relli did not need any help making himself look bad. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, plaintiff Relli prays for judgment against the defendants as follows. Here we go. On the first cause of action, for damages in the amount subject to proof, but in excess of the jurisdictional limit of the court, plus interest at the legal rate. Dang, for punitive damages. On the second cause of action, for damages in the amount subject to proof, but in excess of the jurisdictional limit of this court, plus interest at the legal rate, punitive. And then for the of all causes of action, for the cost of the suit and for such other relief as the court may deem proper. Here we go. Camille M. Vasquez. Again, that's Johnny Depp's former attorney. And they filed this in September of 2023. And again, there's a bunch of exhibits in here. They show all of these articles. Of course, we've got this one in here. I believe this is by, it looks like TMZ. That looks like a TMZ article. Yep, we got the TMZ article. We've got the Rolling Stone article here. ASAP Rocky's lawyer says jealous. ASAP Relli fabricated the shooting in an attempt at extortion. Rocky didn't shoot him by any stretch. Defense lawyer Joe Tacopina tells Rolling Stone. And that was in September 16th of 2022. ASAP Rocky is the victim of a failed shakedown. There it goes. And fabricated shooting accusation orchestrated by his jealous former friend ASAP Relli. The rapper's defense lawyer Joe Tacopina tells the Rolling Stone. Now they had a bunch of quotes in here from him, and those were all mentioned before. According to Tacopina, Relli was the aggressor last September, and they have the quote there we already read. Relli's civil lawyers Jamal Tucson and Brian Hurwitz, responded to the extortion allegations in a statement telling Rolling Stone Friday, the merits of the present case against ASAP Rocky have been thoroughly investigated by both law enforcement and Los Angeles district attorneys prior to the decision to not only arrest ASAP Rocky, but charge him. Y'all agree with that? I don't know about that statement, but hey, they're Relli's lawyers. They have to say that, right? They also said this reckless type of violent behavior exemplifies the scourge of gun violence, causing LA residents to feel nervous and afraid. Now, this is an interesting statement, and maybe that could play into the jury's verdict and the jury's decision. It was mentioned by Sid and friends on the interview that there could be some factors there with it being California, with the gun laws being very strict with how people in California feel about guns. There may be just some already bias there because this is a black male popping off in the middle of the street. I mean, you can hear the shots fired. So they might not see it the way that we see it. I'm a black male in Atlanta. I'm probably not going to see it the same as a non-white person living in LA. So, I mean, this statement here does have some merit, and it could weigh into the jury's decision. Obviously, they say here, Rocky is free on a $550,000 bond. Woo! Of course, he pleaded not guilty. The rapper and his lawyers, including Tacopina, answered Relli's August 10th civil complaint late Thursday, denying the allegations of assault, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress using a certain language. I'm not going to say that. According to Relli's complaint, Rocky asked him to meet at the location in Hollywood on November 6, 2021, and initiated a verbal altercation. And then, of course, we get the quote there. We know what happened. They say, unbeknownst to Relli, ASAP Rocky was not just planning for a conversation and came armed with a semi-automatic handgun, allegedly. Tucson and his co-counsel, Brian Hurwitz, said in a prior statement to Rolling Stone, after arriving at the location, a conversation ensued whereby, without provocation, warning, or any justification, ASAP Rocky produced a handgun and intentionally fired multiple shots at Relli. They're still painting the picture here. And this is obviously Relli's representation saying this. Though the shooting happened in November, it wasn't until Rocky's surprise arrest in April that the rapper was connected to the incident. Rocky was returning from a trip to Barbados with a heavily pregnant Rihanna when he was taken into custody shortly after landing at the LAX airport on a day that also saw investigators raid his LA home. Wow. This is a good article. Hopefully when their eyes are wide open to all the evidence I have, they're going to reconsider the criminal charges. If not, I can't wait to see them at trial. This is what Joe Tacopina said, and he stood on his word. All right, and this looks like everything that was on Joe's website. So they posted the articles to their website, as they mentioned before. And there's the articles there. All right, I think that was it. Oh, we got the TMZ article as well. ASAP Rocky sued by ex-ASAP mob member for defaming him. Man, why they gotta say it like that, man? Y'all know this dude's already emotional. Gonna hurt his feelings even more. ASAP Rocky's attorney went way too far in his defense of the rapper after his 2021 shooting incident, at least according to the alleged victim, ASAP Relli, who's now suing Rocky and his high-powered attorney, Joe Tacopina. Okay, so this article all happened after the lawsuit was filed. Relli claimed he was painted by Tacopina in the media as a liar, a money grabber, and an extortionist, and believes this was all at the direction of ASAP Rocky. Of course, man, you gotta get that money. The suit claims Tacopina spoke to various outlets, including TMZ, and one story Tacopina said Rocky didn't commit the crime. Yeah, so they did a good job covering this. I mean, lawsuits are going to be lawsuits, so y'all got to let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat. My. Let me make sure I didn't miss any more of y'all's comments as well. I got everybody in there. Okay, we should be good. Let me double check one more thing. If he fired a real handgun and fired it at the ground, there would be damage to the ground. Well, the police didn't find anything. Shout out to Samantha Crumbly, dropping the one bomb over here with the crying emoji. Oh, don't cry, Samantha. It's going to be all right. ASAP crew is in their feelings. That's probably Relli crying. Telly is going to sue TMZ for running the article. Nah, he can't. I don't think he can do that. It feels like those sounds were of a dump. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me. It feels like those sounds were of a dumpster being put down and then repositioned. I hear that all the time. See, they were making fun of me, Danny, in real life when I said it sounds like metal being hit, to be honest, but we'll have to see what the jury says. Relli's just desperate. If he wasn't such an ash, He'd have artists under his record label and clients to buy his jewelry. Yeah, I think there's something else going on with Relli, especially hearing how A$AP Lou described their relationship. Seeing how Relli behaved on the stand, I can honestly believe it. He was very irate and for no reason. I mean, I get that you're a victim, man, but dang, we're like the state's trying to help you. Just answer the questions and keep it moving. Rocky should give him $500 and he will leave him alone. God, just $500? He'll be back if he gives him $500. I saw, oh, y'all are saying, they stated that Relli yelled out, shoot that fake weapon. Relli knew it was fake. Yeah. There wouldn't be damage if there were blanks. You can hear the garbage truck beeping. What? I gotta go back and listen to that. So you hear a beep, 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 and then let me see if we can find it. Because I know we played this video 11 times. He needs a guidance counselor. Relli works out and he thought he could beat up Rocky. I mean, he's a big dude. What do they say? He's 6'3"? And good morning to everybody that's just stopping by. We got to do some investigating now. Y'all are saying that you can hear a garbage truck backing up. Let me see. But I mean, it wouldn't really matter at this point because 12E said that Rocky fired the shots, right? So they're not really debating that shots were fired. They're debating that it was fired from a prop gun, which they can't locate. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Danny. But even if it was a garbage truck, they basically conceded that Rocky fired the shots. They're just saying it was shots from a prop gun, right? Let me see what else we have. Yeah, that's wild. Have they been back to court since walking out on day 4? You'll have to tell me who you're referring to. So why the shot spotter didn't alert the police? Did they have shot spotter out there? I'm surprised they didn't have somebody come and speak to it. Yeah, that's where I believe they made it up for a defense. They never explored other scenarios. Why the police not want to talk to witnesses? Who knows? Who knows? I had one more thing I wanted to get to, but I think we might cover that tomorrow because we got another lawsuit that I wanted to talk about, but I think I'm gonna save that till tomorrow because we got a couple other things we're gonna talk about. Court is going to be back tomorrow. I believe they said at 9:30. I believe Kathy said, which is going to be 10, 11, 12, 12:30 our time. So we'll be here. We'll be live streaming before that. I've got a couple other things I want to cover. Shout out to everybody who stopped by and thank y'all for liking the video. We've got over 100% likes. It's a short live stream today, but we're going to be posting some more clips from y'all from A$AP Lou's testimony. I've also got the times that we've covered the full lawsuit from A$AP Relli. So got a lot of stuff that's going to be out for y'all later on this afternoon. Make sure if you haven't yet subscribed, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. I appreciate y'all. We're going to be live tonight as well for another episode of the Song of the Night. So make sure y'all tune in. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.